Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I have a little square of light here today. That's not going to bother me at all. It's fine. I really wanted to film today because I am coming up really close to my first ever Japan trip. It's like right around the corner and I'm so excited and I'm almost done planning. Obviously I'm not sure how the trip's going to go at the point of filming this video, but I'm obviously going to tell you guys all about it afterwards. And I thought I would share a little bit about how I prepped to get ready to go to Japan, because Mark and I have been overseas before a couple of times. We went to Australia on holiday. We've also been to Rarotonga, but this will be our first time going somewhere completely alone, because those two trips that we took were with our families, so with like my siblings and his siblings. So this is our first time going completely alone anywhere. It's also going to be a significantly different place because the main language that everybody speaks over there is not English. So I'm very excited to see just how different it is over there and just experience as much as we can in our few weeks, but also very nervous, and I feel like a lot of people are in the same boat when they're getting ready to take their first trip to Japan. So I'm going to tell you guys what I did to prepare, and maybe hopefully with enough time in between like the video coming out and me going, you guys might be able to give me like any extra tips you have for anything I've forgotten that can help me prepare. But also if you're just a person who is doing your own trip for the first time, maybe I can help you. So I'm gonna dive right in and start listing some shit. Doesn't matter what I do with my hair, it's got this like permanent hair tie line in it at the moment. It's great, it's good, we love it, we're not talking about it. Okay, so the first thing that I did, and the one that you can do the farthest out from your trip, so pretty much like the first thing that I would do, and I will continue to do with any country that we go to, is educate myself the best I can. Start early, go in hard, do as much as you can. The very first thing I did was go around and join Facebook groups. So just anything that's like common Japan travelers, traveling to Japan for beginners as well, because in these big groups that are really popular, you have people who have traveled multiple times and they can give you really good advice. But then if you join a beginners group as well, you can also get like a community of people who are asking the same questions that you are. And in my experience, it makes me feel a little bit less like shy and afraid to ask questions in the group. But make sure you use the search function as well to search up all of your questions, because odds are they've already been asked a million times and you can find really good answers to them. I'm sure there are other sites that you can use to join groups or things like that. Like I know you could probably go on like a Reddit or something and ask questions, but I use Facebook primarily, so that's what I did. I think I'm in about 3 different like Japan planning groups, and it has been fantastic. That has been the best thing that I have done in order to learn about Japan before actually being able to be there. The next one is learning your basic language skills. Now obviously I don't have the brain, I don't know, some people might, but I don't have the brain power to speed learn an entire new language, but I'm doing my best to learn the basics and stuff that are going to help me out while I'm in the country. I know that the Japanese people really do appreciate that, at least that's what I've learned from my Facebook groups, is just doing your best to be respectful and embrace the culture, and one of those things is the language. So not only did I join Duolingo and just take their really basic course to try and learn some things, but I also got myself a phrase book, like an actual book off Amazon that I went through and I highlighted everything that I thought would be useful, and I highlighted like the corners of the page for me to find it. And I'm going to take that phrase book with me because I think it's got in like the English version, and then it's got the Japanese version, and then it's got it like spaced out so that you can enunciate it all. And I think taking that with me, because if I really get stuck I can just show it to someone and they can read it. That should hopefully help me. But also it's been really good. I've been practicing them and saying the phrases into Google Translate to make sure that like my pronunciation is correct. That's been really good as well. And another really big one and super easy one is just watching YouTube videos. So watching videos on like how to plan a trip to Japan, like tips for using the train stations. Majorly that's one that's really scaring me, is their train system, but we will be fine, I'm sure. But watching those kind of purposeful education videos, and then also just vlogs, because then you get to see people's actual experience, what they've done, what they enjoyed, and you can kind of pick and choose to kind of make your own experience when you go. My favourite videos personally are done by the channel Pretty Pastel Please. I have watched her for years and years and years and years, so if you're wanting Japanese content, I would recommend going to her channel. She has a whole playlist with heaps and heaps of videos from like every time she's visited over the years. So very cool to watch, very entertaining, and just very educational as well. Next thing I'm going to move on to is things that I've brought to try and prepare myself. Now, not on this list, but I've just thought of it like this morning, is that I might pick up another battery for my camera, because usually I take my vlog camera, my GoPro, and my Polaroid, but for this trip I'm only going to be taking my vlog camera and nothing else. So I might pick up another battery for it because this thing does lose battery quite quickly. However, that's also because I sit here and film half an hour long videos, and I'm not going to be doing that in Japan. So it's not 100% a necessity for me, but it is something that's on the cards. If I can pick one up before we go, I will. Things that I have already got and that I think are really important for anyone looking to go to Japan is, first of all, compression socks. Both for the plane and for regular walking around. I've brought the long knee-high version of compression socks for the plane ride because we'll be flying from Brisbane into Narita Airport, so it's a 9-hour flight, and I think it's really important to have things like compression socks to just help with your overall health. Wow, that was a hard sentence. But also I went and brought crew length ones as well, just for when we're walking around, because apparently what I've heard and what I've seen from literally everybody is you will be doing 20 to 30,000 steps a day on your visit, and that is going to be hell on my feet, on Mark's feet. They're going to be very long days, and I just feel like having a pair of compression socks to kind of keep the blood moving, not let my feet swell, because unfortunately I do suffer with that, is going to be the best way to kind of combat it as we're on the go. Next one, and one of the very first things I brought, was travel adapters for our chargers, because Japan's wall plugs are different to Australia's wall plugs. So I got one that has 2 variations on it because you can come across 2 different types of wall plug in Japan. So I got one that does both, and I think eventually I will invest in one of the bigger ones. There's these ones that they're big cubes and they've got like a million different countries adapters in them, and you kind of pop them in and out as needed. So I think after this trip I might invest in one of those. But for now, I've just got a really basic one that's specifically for like New Zealand, Australia to Japan, and they're going to do us just fine for the trip. We're getting another charge brick because Mark has a really big, like, what do you call them? What's the other name for them that's not charge brick? Power bank. There we go. Mark has a really big power bank and it's fantastic, but I'm going to get a second one because you never know, and I think we're going to be using our phones a lot, not just for like pictures and videos and stuff, but a lot for navigation, and it's going to be absolute hell if we end up somewhere with a dead phone. So power banks, make sure you're charged, people. Don't get lost without a phone. One of the things I'm really excited about, and I have these ordered, they haven't arrived yet, but they're like chest bags. So obviously you could get like a fanny pack or something like that. I've got these square ones that you can sit across your chest like this, and I'm going to have them specifically to have our very, very important things in them, because we have backpacks. That's not a problem. I also brought little locks to go on the zips of your backpacks. Now, do I think that we are going to get robbed in Japan? No, I don't, because it's just not the culture there. However, it's good to have, considering we are planning to travel the world. I just brought them now so that we have them. But also in the Facebook groups I'm in, I have heard of a few issues of other tourists causing issues of robbing tourists. So am I worried about the Japanese people? Absolutely not, but I know that there is actively problems going on with other people who are visiting the country, so I'm just trying to stay safe. I have locks for my backpacks. We have big kind of padlocks, not big, but like bigger padlocks for our suitcases, and then the chest bag for us to keep our wallets, our phones, our passports, because that is another thing as a tourist or as a, you know, overseas person. You do have to keep your passport on you at all times, and my worst fear is losing it. So if I have it right here, that bitch ain't going nowhere. That's my thought anyway. Appropriate clothing is another one. Now, obviously, it's not, I think the weather's going to be okay, to be honest. I've kind of Googled it, and it seems to be, the normal weather is about 20 to 25 degrees. Now, if I still lived in New Zealand, that would be quite warm, but living in Australia, I'm like, look, that's borderline chilly for me these days, so I'll take a couple pairs of shorts, we'll take the t-shirts, they're all absolutely fine, but I wanted to get a few pairs of pants that were more of like a linen rather than just having jeans, because I think I will end up wearing pants to walk around in, but I didn't want to wear jeans because I do think I'll get too hot in them being constantly moving, so that's one of the things. And then I've also picked up just a couple of long sleeve shirts because I do have tattoos on my arms, obviously, and while the Japanese are getting a lot more accepting when it comes to things like tattoos, especially if you are very obviously from overseas. We are going to be visiting places like museums, shrines, things like that, where I personally just believe that it would be a little bit disrespectful to turn up, you know, just tattoos out, wandering around, and for me, I would just prefer to be covered. I think that's absolutely fine. Do you want to come sit? Come sit. Come on. Hello. And the last one from this category of things that I have brought is new walking shoes. Now, I actually do want to buy some shoes in Japan because I've heard that they are a little bit cheaper and they have really good brands. But Mark and I have both brought brand new walking shoes that we are going to wear in for a month or so before going, because it's important to have really good quality shoes. But you don't want to buy shoes and put them on for the first time in Japan because then you're going to absolutely ruin your feet. They need to be worn in, but not old. So, new shoes. Oh my goodness, you have so much love to give. Yeah. So much love in such a little chicken. And the last sort of like category I wanted to talk about, I suppose, is just general preparation. Other things that I have done. And the first thing that I did, I even made a video about it, was making a full like itinerary, a full plan. Now that video, great, had good ideas. However, our actual trip ended up being slightly shorter than what I was hoping for. So I had to basically completely redo it, pick and choose a lot of what we wanted to do because we weren't going to fit everything in. So I have a completely new itinerary. And it's perfect. I have put just enough in so that our days aren't empty, but enough that we're going to see what we need to see. And it's already changing because I've realized that, you know, there's different things coming out in the next month or so that I want to add, you know, things that are brand new and opening that I want to add to our itinerary. So just make sure that when you're doing one, you don't pack it too tight that if you miss one thing, it's going to ruin your whole day or your whole week. I have cat hair all in my mouth. I liked to kind of work off the idea of this is what I'd really love to do, so I'll pop that in there, but I'm not going to put 17 things in one day. I think I've done 3 things a day, and then all the other space that's around that is just going to be exploring time, hangout time. Maybe we will be tired and just need to go back to the hotel for a little bit. You know, I don't want to do too much, which I'm very good at. So make sure you have an itinerary, make sure you're planned, don't go in completely blind, because for me that's the easiest way to get overwhelmed. Another one, and this is one I didn't actually know about and wouldn't have known about if it wasn't for joining the Facebook groups, is we had to do an online application for Mark to be able to bring his medication into the country. Now, because the certain medication that Mark is on is not only just restricted, so when we fly to other countries we usually have to have some paperwork anyway, we were all prepped for that. It is a restricted substance, but in Japan it is actually banned completely. So we have to do like an application to the Japanese government to be able to bring that into the country. So we made sure that that was done nice and early as well. Okay, don't leave any of these things until last minute. We did ours literally months in advance so that we made sure if there were any problems there was ample time to fix it, or if there were any changes in Mark's medication before the trip, again we would have time to get it adjusted. So just be aware that you may need to check if you are on medication. It's always good to go online, do a bit of a Google, make sure that all of those medications are actually allowed to be brought into the country that you're going to, because that was something, as a bit of a newbie traveller, I didn't even think about looking up. Another good one is having some sort of international credit or debit card. Personally, Mark and I already use Wise because we transfer money back and forth between New Zealand all the time. So we just got a physical Wise debit card, and then what you do is it gets shipped to you, you activate it, and then you can either just use it attached to like money that you've uploaded, and I could leave it in Australian dollars if I wanted to, or I can change it over to yen and have yen loaded to that card that I can just swipe away when we get to Japan. So that was really easy for us because we already had like a company. I didn't have to do any research into like a specific overseas debit card that might work for us. I know there are a lot of options, and I've seen a lot in my Facebook groups of people recommending things, Wise being one of them. We just already use Wise, so we know it's really good, and if you're going overseas, I would recommend for you to check out Wise and see if that would work for you. Also remember to get some sort of international or eSIM for your phone and or roaming data. I don't think Mark and I are going to go the eSIM route because I don't really need to be able to text people. I don't even text people here in Australia. I just do everything through like Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp Messenger, you know, like it's not a big thing for me, but I know some people really want to get an eSIM, or you can buy a SIM card when you get there. It's not a big deal. Just make sure you have some way to communicate. So for us, we're going to be using, I just had a mind blank, a really bad one, like roaming packs. That's usually Mark's thing. So we'll check as to whether our phone company has like a roaming pack that would work in Japan, but if it doesn't, there are places like Holafly. There's a million, honestly. One Google search, or again, I'm probably going to double check what is on the Facebook page and what people are recommending, but make sure you get a good sort of pocket Wi-Fi or data plan or something along those lines, you know, just to make sure you're staying connected. I've also seen recommended that if you're going with a partner or with a group, make sure you've got a couple of different providers, because then if one of you is having a problem with, say, your phone provider and someone else is with like Holafly or something, someone in the group is going to have usable data. So it's always good, and just something to keep in mind that you don't always have to use the same service, and maybe it's a little bit better not to, just in case someone does end up having a problem, or maybe the service experience is like an outage or a down, then you're not going to be stuck without a way to communicate and a way to look around. And the only other thing I've really done to prepare is I have downloaded the app Klook and a couple of other apps to help me book tickets for trains like the Shinkansen and stuff like that. So I've downloaded all of them onto my phone to help me do that. Klook especially is really good for booking your like tickets to things. So I'm using that for the first time. I've never used Klook before, so I can't give you a recommendation, but everybody reckons it's really good. I'm going to be using it to book a lot of what we are doing in Japan. It gives you like special discounts and deals and things like that. It sort of reminds me of like TripAdvisor or Viaza or Booking.com in a way, you know, just a different version of that. I've heard really good things, but please maybe look around. Don't take my word for this one. It is a very, very popular website though, so I have high hopes. I have my fingers crossed. I think it's going to be great. That's it. In terms for my preparation, that's everything I've done, and when I'm sitting here it doesn't feel like a lot, but I know it's been a lot. It's been a lot. I'm pretty nervous about this trip because, like I said, it's our first time going somewhere completely alone, but like I know it'll be fine. It just doesn't take that anxiety away. I think once we actually land on the ground and get there, everything's going to be absolutely fine. But yes, very, very nervous leading up to it, very excited. If you have been to Japan and you have some other advice you can give me, please, please, please do, because I will take absolutely anything I can get at the moment. I'm scared that I'm missing something. I just don't know what it would be. So if you've got it, let me know. If you like this video, please leave me a like, and if you want to see more of my content, I post every Sunday at 7 AM Brisbane time. So I would love to see you there. If you want to be there, bye, I guess.